Today we're going to talk about what you should really be doing at a shipper or receiver if you get held up. And we're also going to take a look at a video of why you always want to make sure that you have an out. Hello, welcome to Safety Update with Sam. I am Sam. If you didn't know that, I'm Sam. This is him, and I am the safety supervisor at Meiborg and Silver Arrow. And I just want to thank you guys for taking a couple minutes out of your day to watch this video. I've gotten a ton of feedback on these, and it's really encouraging that you guys are watching them and you guys are interacting and leaving comments and texting me going, what is this guy doing? And I'm like, I don't know. And then we get into a whole conversation. So that's great. That's exactly what I want these videos to be. I want them to be conversation starters, and I want you guys to watch them and think, what would I do in this situation? Or, if your dash cam is one we're watching, go, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Or, hey, kudos, did a good job. So anyways, it's all just a spark conversation. What would you do? How would you do it? That's what I'm here for. Cool. All right. So one thing that we need to talk about real quick, we're having a couple issues with kind of wasting time at shippers and receivers. And I'm not even going to get into all the stuff with how shippers and receivers are wasting our time, but there are some things that we can do so that our time isn't as much of a waste as it possibly is. I know shippers and receivers can be super slow, and this is not a video on that, but what can we do? So we get to a shipper or receiver and we're just waiting, and we're waiting and waiting and waiting. A lot of times, a lot of people will put themselves off duty. That is not technically, hear me out, that is not technically correct. In order to be off duty, you have to have the ability to actually leave the shipper or receiver. Now, just in your truck, you can leave the trailer there, but you have to have the ability to leave the shipper receiver and literally go do something else. That is technically what off duty is there for. So I know some of you will stay on duty, which again, technically, if you are being loaded or unloaded, that is technically what you are supposed to do because you are doing a work function. Even if you're not the one physically loading or unloading the truck, you are still in the truck, it's being loaded, you're doing a trucking function, so you're supposed to be on duty. So what exactly can we do if we're stuck at a receiver or a shipper and it's taking forever? The one line that a lot of people kind of forget about that we can use in this situation is the sleeper berth, okay? Because you can be loading or unloading, and you could also be in the sleeper berth taking a nap. You get what I'm saying here, okay? So if you are being held up somewhere, throw yourself in the sleeper berth. Make sure that you put yourself on duty, you're driving. And here's another thing too, if you're not using yard move, I want you to look into using that. It's an available option on your ELD. Once you pull into a yard of a shipper or receiver, throw yourself on yard move. That'll save your drive time, but it'll leave you on duty. So what a lot of guys do is they'll go into yard move, they'll get to the dock, they'll back up, they'll bump the dock, they'll leave themselves on duty for a couple minutes just to make sure that everything's good, make sure that the product is either getting taken off or put on, and then throw yourself in a sleeper berth. That will take you off duty, but it won't necessarily be, a lie, so to speak, because you could be back in your sleeper while they're loading and unloading you. So that's a really good little thing. If you're using off duty, I highly, highly recommend you switch over to sleeper berth because that is the truth. If you're off duty, you could have some complications of DOT officers wanting to see receipts of things, or I don't know. You just kind of open yourself up to a couple other things, because technically off duty means that you can leave the premises and go do whatever you want. And I know a lot of times that's not the case. A lot of times you got to stay connected to the trailer and wait for them to get done either loading you or unloading you. So if you find yourself at a shipper receiver taking forever, which we've all been there, throw yourself in a sleeper berth. Go back in the sleeper berth, take a quick nap, catch up on paperwork, whatever, but go into the sleeper berth and really utilize that line on your ELD, because that will save your time then for when you're done and you need to get driving again. So, okay, don't use off duty, go to sleeper berth. That's the line you want to go to. Okay, so now let's take a look at this week's dash cam footage. Okay, so here we are with this week's dash cam footage. We are in construction, which is always a time where you got to be on high alert. The lanes are narrow, the speed limits are different, so make sure you're following the posted speed limit. But construction is just a tough spot to be in, and unfortunately, we see it in a lot of major metropolitan areas. And we're getting through winter here, so we're going to start seeing that construction start ramping back up again up here in the north. I know in the south they're still doing it, but construction is definitely a place that you need to be on your guard at all times, watching your speed, watching the traffic in front of you, all that good stuff. Okay, so let's take a look at what we'll see in this video here. Driving along, following a car hauler. So we see the brakes, and that's about as close as you can get without actually hitting the guy in front of you. I remember talking with this driver right after I saw the video saying, "Are you sure that you didn't clip anything on the front of that truck?" But he says, nope, it was ship shape. And this is an owner operator, so he would definitely know if he clipped anything, and he would definitely want to get that repaired. So this is kind of a scary video though. Again, in construction, got to keep on high alert. Right now we've got okay following distance at the beginning here of the video. Maybe we could bring it back a little bit more, but right now we're at okay following distance as long as we keep doing the speed limit. But as we find out, that could quickly change. And the truck in front of us slams on his brakes. You could see, because if you notice there, he's got that brake wobble when he hits the brakes. So he's slamming on his brakes pretty tough there. And one of the things that my driving instructor told me back when I was 16 years old, just getting my license, and it kind of always stuck with me, and it's always a principle that I still use, is especially in situations like this. If they brake, you brake. Okay, I'm sure you've heard that before, but it's such a common, or it's such a simple phrase that to keep in the back of your mind. So especially when we're tight situations, we don't know like how big of a braking the vehicle in front of us is doing. So it's always just a good practice that if you see their brakes going, might as well get your brakes going here, and that requires paying close attention. So as we see here, the brakes are going, right there, we should be applying our brakes, and now we see, oh no, it's stopping. So luckily, as I was talking with this driver, he was already kind of checking the left side. He was already looking in his left side mirror. He's doing the parameter look on his truck. So he knew that he had the left lane was open, which is good because he ultimately had to use it, as you can see. And if we go forward here, you can see that car hauler trailer almost hits that Jeep in front of him. So I don't know what happened to cause that braking, but definitely something caused it to go quickly. So this is so important, like I said, in construction, regular city traffic, just as you're cruising down the road here, always be looking and making sure that you have an out, because you never know when you're going to need it. So again, luckily this guy, for this driver, he knew that the left lane was open. I don't think he was planning on taking it, but he knew that if he needed it, he had it. And again, I don't know. I watched this video. I still don't know how he didn't even clip like a bumper or something like that, because man, he got really close. And then the other thing you have to watch out for with this kind of stuff is, okay, you make this move over there, you have very little room on the left to make an adjustment. It's not like you have a ditch that you can kind of swing wide out in. You've got that Jersey barrier right there. And so you got, what is that, a foot maybe between the line and the Jersey barrier. And these lanes are already narrow. So this was definitely an evasive maneuver that was taken at a desperation moment. And I mean, obviously these things happen. So, but at the same time, it's one of those, maybe back up a little bit more. You're in construction. You never know what these cars, or in this case, trucks, are going to do. But I'm sure probably if we went to the front of the video, we'd see that there's a car slamming on his brakes. But just always make sure that you know what you're going to do should something happen like this. Always make sure, see, if he wasn't scanning and there's a car in the left lane, that would have been a major collision. So just always make sure that you're paying attention to what's going on around you, especially when you're in the city or construction traffic like this, because you never know when traffic in front of you is going to stop like this one does. So again, don't know how he didn't hit anything, but he didn't, and the load was fine. Yeah, it was good. So anyways, just be mindful of that, okay? So if you have any comments on this video, or you want to talk about it or whatever, feel free to let me know. Contact me. All my contact information is at the bottom. I've talked with you guys, a lot of you guys, about a lot of different videos. And again, like I said at the beginning, this is what this is for. Want to start this conversation, get you guys looking at these situations, going, what exactly would I do in this situation? So again, any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to reach out to me at the bottom. And until next time, as I always say, and I always mean it, drive safe.